It's not a big secret if you know me, but I'm kind of into scary movies. And I've noticed that there's a theme with scary movies, particularly the ones that are geared around ghosts and spirits. This idea that the spirits are still there because they've still got something to do. There's actually a lot of movies with that underlying theme. The Sixth Sense, Ghost, Others, Beetlejuice, Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams. I'm not saying that's a scary movie. The Ring. You know what? Coco, actually. Coco from like 2017. Anyway, all these themes about unfinished business actually link to something that we've studied in psychology. There's a psychological phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect. It's named after Russian psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, and she was observing that waiters and waitresses in cafes could better remember unpaid bills, but once the bill had been paid, they would forget the order. She did some research on this and found that we do indeed tend to remember unfinished things better. So that leads to our mind being restless and anxious when we have what she called unclosed loops. I can almost guarantee you some of you are dealing on a daily basis with some anxiety and stress from some unresolved or unclosed loops. And then that creates stress and anxiety for us because our brain is trying to remind us that it's there. And that's a double-edged sword because on one hand, it helps us get our tasks done so we don't forget them. But if we don't do them and we just let them linger, then that creates a lot of cognitive load on your brain. And it's pretty exhausting. You ever had that feeling where you just feel like there are too many things I'm in the middle of right now and I can't sleep at nights because when I try to rest, my brain is pinging me with these unresolved issues. That can be work, and sometimes that can be relationship, and that keeps you up at night because in your head, the loop isn't yet closed. So the important takeaway here is that when you have these unclosed loops, you have cognitive tension. It's really important for you to finish your tasks, not just because you want to get them done or you said that you would, but because when you don't, it hurts you cognitively. And if you're not going to do a task, you can close that loop by discarding the task, rejecting the task. Maybe you said you'd do something, but you don't have the bandwidth for it. And the way to close that loop is to remove yourself now from that responsibility. And if you're struggling with procrastination, I would encourage you that research shows that if you start into a task, that helps jog that procrastination loose. So don't neglect addressing unfinished business. You don't want to be like the ghosts in the movies that are hanging around because there's still something left to do and nobody can figure out what. You want to clear your brain so you have room for the new and incoming things you're going to be doing tomorrow. You definitely don't want to be living a life where your to-do list just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I know none of you are doing that with your to-do lists. You want to put it on your calendar. That is one of the biggest ways for me I close a loop, is that even if I can't physically do an action today, when I know I need to do something and I don't want to forget it, I can place it in a chronological space and time on my calendar. Don't allow unfinished tasks to keep you up at night. And then when the loop is closed, your spirit can finally be free. You won't feel so guilty about watching Netflix or whatever it is you were going to do.